much for being here today. I am so glad that I get to do this. I am excited about this opportunity for this series. Today, I am here with Amy Turner with No BS Therapy. I'm excited to get to share some information about what she is doing in her practice and how she can help you live a more happy, healthy lifestyle. So welcome, Amy. Thank you so much for being here. So first, tell me a little bit about you and your practice.
Yeah, so my business is No BS Therapy, and that's basically because a lot of times when we think about therapy, you think about how, oh, I'm going to see my therapist every 2 weeks for years. And the way that I work with people is you really only see me for one time for a deep 2-hour session, and then we really don't have to see each other again because you got your issue resolved. So that's the whole No BS Therapy. That's where I came up with that.
That's awesome. I love that. It's very cool. So can you tell me a little bit about what it feels like to practice this and who you connect with, on a deeper level? And
Yeah, so it's who I connect with. I would say probably you have to be a little bit open to spirituality and energy, because it's not your typical therapy session where you come in and talk about your issues. Like, yes, you talk about your issue, but we are also going to go into your past and we're going to deal with energy. I'm a big believer. Well, it's just true. It's just science. We're all energy, right? So we're all particles, we're all atoms, we're all energy. And a lot of the times our wounds and our issues, it's stored in our body. And so a lot of the session is we find out where it's stored in your body, and then I help you, guide you to release it out. And so people who have to be at least open to understanding that we are carrying our traumas, we are carrying our shame, we are carrying all of those issues in our body, and for someone to be open to that, because it can be a little bit woo-woo, but I mean, woo-woo is what really gets you the results. So that's who I typically work with, is people who are open to that.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you're talking about just the openness and the spirituality side of things, but also diving deeper into connecting with ourselves. I love that so much. So when you mention being open, are there things that maybe people have struggled with being open, or that maybe you could offer some advice or some suggestions for people?
Yeah, I'd say a big piece of working with me is it's very intuitive. I'm not one of those psychics that tells you, oh, I see something in your body here. I'm not. I can read you, I can read energy, but my goal is to teach you how to do it so you can do it for yourself. And so I would say that the person that I'm working with needs to be intuitive, and everyone is intuitive. A lot of times we think we're not, but you need to understand that you are intuitive and kind of follow your gut. And there have been times where I've worked with people where it's kind of scary. You're going into your psyche, you're going into your past with a stranger, so to speak, so I get it that it can be a little bit difficult. But the main thing is that you really want to follow your own intuition. And at times I could say, like, repeat after me and finish the sentence. And then we talk to that energy that's stuck in your body and have that energy talk through you. So that's kind of like the woo-woo part of it. But if people just, you know what, I'm just going to throw out anything that I could think of and just let the words come, that's when we have the most amazing session.
And it feels like it's more of a natural process to allow people to grow within themselves, to pull out some of those things that are already within them. And you're not creating, unwanted energy. So it's pulling it out of them and allowing them to process that naturally. I like that. So one of the things that I do with my clients is we sit down and we talk about all all different parts of the balance wheel. And
Yeah.
so we have 8 segments, and part of that is spirituality, and also the heart and the soul, and how all of those are connected in balancing ourselves and how we can live a happy and healthy life. And so I think it is so interesting how if someone is maybe having a hard time with their spirituality, and then you work with them and they find release, and they can live much more healthy lives, but also balanced and open to, working on the other parts of themselves. I think that would flow really well.
Yeah, it's all
So,
intertwined,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like if you are open with your heart, then you can be more spiritual. The more spiritual you are, the more like it just all kind of goes together.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that. Like I touch my heart. I'm like, oh, it feels so good.
Yeah.
It feels good whenever we allow ourselves to work work all parts of our being and our energy. So I know that you're kind of new to the area. I would love to hear your experience, maybe from where you came from, and you can share that, but how things shifted from being where you were and then coming here, and working with this community. So learning, to adapt. And we kind of talked about it a little bit before, but I would love to hear your perspective.
Yeah, I love this question. So I'm from California, so I escaped from California, and now we are in Missouri, and it's been a bit of a transition. So before I was in San Diego, California. I had an office right on the beach. After my clients had a session, they could just walk to the beach and just process everything. It was great. And if you know anything about like life coaching and spirituality and all that stuff, it's like San Diego is the epitome of everyone's a life coach. No one asks you what's a life coach. Everyone knows. People call themselves goddesses and rainbows and whatever the heck you want to call yourself. So that's where I came from. Now that I am in Springfield, it's more, or not like in Missouri, it's more of like the Bible Belt place, which is totally fine. It's just interesting because I haven't quite known how to put myself out there the way that I work, because a lot of what I work is hypnotherapy, and I know that's kind of banned in the Bible and with certain religions, and so I'm not really saying that, and I haven't decided if I'm putting myself out there here, because I work with people all around the world online. But it has been interesting because there are a couple of Facebook groups that I like mentioned what I do, and people responded, and someone said, okay, well, what is your love with Jesus Christ? I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know how to answer that. So I'm like, maybe that's not going to be my client. Not saying I've never been a Bible kind of person. I'm very open to it, and I have clients that are very religious, and I'm fine with that. I'm not knowledgeable about it, and I don't pretend to be. I'm more of the like, let's talk about chakras and energy and woo-woo and spirituality. And so it's been a bit of a transition. I still don't know if I'm gonna put myself out there here at all, or I'm still getting clients from San Diego. I'm still getting clients from many other states. So that's kind of how it's been. Yeah.
So when you talk about being in Facebook groups, are there communities that you feel that you might be able to plug into specifically in the area, that other people in our community can connect to you, or even just sharing your own Facebook group, or if you have a website, those kinds of things, getting people to connect to you locally, but then also sharing your information to the rest of the world.
Right. Yeah. I have a Facebook group. I haven't been active in like probably 2 or 3 years. So it's kind of like when I started my business, I had these big dreams like, oh, I'm going to be on stage, I'm going to be famous, and like, and then you really get down to it. It's like, do I really want to work that hard? I don't know that it sounds so amazing. And then I don't know if I really want to work that hard. And then people told me, oh, well, you should do group coaching. And I did that a couple of times. It wasn't right for me. Yeah, you can make more money, but it's not right for me because I just really like working one-on-one with the person, because they're there, they're telling me what's going on with them. I can ask them the questions in the moment. It's very personal. Where group, it's just me talking the whole time and you having an experience, and I don't know what's happening. And so as far as like Facebook groups or anything, I really haven't. It's weird. It's really weird coming from starting my business and thinking I want to be this big hot shot to now it's like, I don't really want to be. I just want to work with people individually, one-on-one, and I want to guide them to their power and their truth. And no offense, but I never want to see them again unless they come back to me for a different issue. But it's just, I don't want to enable them. I don't. So to answer your question about like Facebook groups and community, I don't really know. Yeah. I'm happy with what I have right now. And I'm definitely wanting to put myself out there and see who I can meet here that I connect with, but I'm not like really trying to grow.
Okay. And that makes sense. When you were talking about working one-on-one with people, that speaks straight to my heart and to my practice as well, because I intentionally meet with people one-on-one, because I think it is most beneficial when we share that space together to work through solutions for some of the things that they're experiencing. And it can be a little difficult to put yourself out there and, try to appeal to the masses without, just really creating this person that you are not wanting to be. So I commend you for just not doing that, just staying true to yourself, but then also wanting to work through that and open yourself up to exploring it, at least, so that people will connect with you, so that you can help them in a way that is genuine and authentic. But also, no BS therapy obviously stands for let's get it done. Like, it may be one session that really pulls everything out, but then they can go on their way and and really work on themselves and become the best version of themselves. So I think that that is something that our current environment, many people struggle with, because they feel like they need multiple sessions or they need multiple incidences, contact or communication in order to fulfill something, for work to have actually been done, through the process. And so I think it's amazing that you can provide this service, not a one-stop shop, but yeah, and people are just they can transform in that one session into more of transition from all of those deeply held emotions, and maybe it's trauma or spirituality, and then pulling out of that in one session. That's just incredible. So I think that your services are beneficial for everyone, obviously. But I would love to know specifically who you have formerly worked with, maybe a particular audience or a particular clientele. Do you have anyone in mind that maybe someone could relate to specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of coaches out there that, especially like female coaches, that only work with females. That's not me. I've always been, if you're a male and you're more in touch with your emotions or willing to be, then I can work with you, because I've worked with plenty of men too with confidence issues and money blocks and different things like that. And I would say probably the most important thing is someone who, that's the clientele that I call in, is they love the no BS. They're like, you know what, I've done therapy for years. I've tried this, I've done this, it hasn't worked. I just want something that works so I can move on with my life. And so I guess I call in the people who don't want to be enabled, who don't want to see me over and over again, who are just like, you know what, I've tried it. I'm sick of talking about my problems. I go to my therapist. We talk about the same thing over and over. Nothing changes. And so it's like, okay, come to me. We're going to talk about it one more time. We might go back to your past. We will go back to your past. We might go back to some trauma. We might have to deal with stuff that you've talked about for years with other healing professionals. But this is the last time, because after our session, if you look back at that, you're not going to have that ting anymore. You're not going to have that pull towards it. You're not going to be triggered anymore by it. You're just be like, oh yeah, that was something that happened to me, and you move forward. And so to answer your question, it would be people who are just like, get in, get it done. I'm ready. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I just want to move on with my life.
Yeah. And that makes sense, because, you know, if you're exhausting all other resources trying to pull all of this out, and maybe you're stuck, right? So like, having gone through all of these various modes of therapy or services, and then to just be like, what is out there? You know,
Right.
to really, because obviously someone that has gone through all of these extensive services and have not found any success with them, they want to work on it. They want to heal. They want to be better. And then having this opportunity to work with someone that's like, no BS, like,
Yeah.
we're going to get it done right now. Right. So I love that. One of the things that that I would love to share or to know a little bit more about is, so your background specifically. I would love for you to talk about that and how you got to creating No BS.
Right. That's a funny story. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and licensed in addiction and drug counseling and all that stuff too. And I was working in an outpatient hospital for people with mood disorders and drug addictions or alcohol addictions. And I was sitting there, and, you know, they're coming 3 times a week, and I'm doing the best that I can. I'm just like, there's got to be something else out there. There's got to be something out there to where people don't have to just keep seeing me every 2 weeks or come to outpatient and then like the revolving door. There's got to be something that works. And I kind of just put that out there and let it go. And then this interesting woman came into my life, and she's from England. And so she's a healer, and they can say things very different in England than we can say in America. And so she said that I can cure anyone in one session. And I'm like, who is this crazy lady that thinks she can cure people in one session? First of all,
and to say that.
Yeah, exactly. We can't even say cure here. So who is this woman? And there was something in me that is like, I need to know more about this. But it was the skeptic in me. It was the like, you know what? It was back when I was like younger and thought I was hot shit, right? So it was, oh, I'm a licensed therapist. You can't cure anyone in one session. I'm going to prove her wrong. So I decided to take her course, and I was going to prove her wrong that you couldn't do it in one session, and then I was going to get my money back. That was the whole reason why I did it. And then, of course, so then I learned the tools. I started practicing with other people at work, nurses, other therapists, people that have very strong boundaries and we don't talk about our past with. So I started practicing. I was like, hey, I'm learning this cool thing. If anyone wants to help me out, like in one of our meetings, like, yeah. They like volunteered. No clue what was going to happen. They went to their childhood. They're crying with me. They're telling me things they've never told anyone before. I'm like, what the heck is this? And so then I very much realized, okay, this is what I asked for. So I'm not going to get my money back. I'm going to go all the way with it. And I was one of the first people in America to be doing this. Now it's taken off. There's so many people that do this, but that was the whole no BS. You don't have to come see me every 2 weeks. It's no BS. We're just going to get it done. And I'm very much a concise, get to the point kind of person. So I'm no BS in that. Like I'm very compassionate, and I will hold you and listen to you and be there with you. But I'm also like, okay, let's move forward. No BS. So it's kind of twofold of where the name came from.
Yeah. That's just, I got goosebumps listening to you tell this this story and this recall of how you went from being, you know, a counselor, a therapist, and having all of that formal training and education that says, also, by the way, we have to do this repetitive thing all the time to help people. And you found a solution to that and transitioned after experiencing it yourself, you know. And it's like, we can't truly communicate that to someone unless we've also gone through the training and experienced that aha moment, like, wow, this really works. And then sharing it with other people and seeing, you know, their transition, you know, after being skeptic, and like you said, having those very strict boundaries formerly, and then opening up to this idea that we really can overcome some of those things that we have been told numerous times over and over. You know, we have to do it this way, or we have to do it that way in order for it to work. You're like, nope, I have a solution.
Well, there's so many things. I mean, you're in the industry. There's so many things now. Before it was just like, oh, therapy, you're just going to talk about your problems. And now it's like, so the thing that I do, it's called Rapid Transformational Therapy. And now there's Rapid Transformational something, and there's this and there's that. And there's so many things out there, which I think is really cool in this day and age, that we have gotten past the whole, like, you're going to see me forever and we're going to talk about your issues forever. There's so many different outlets out there that people can go for healing to really get over it so much faster. And it's really awesome that science and education and all of that and psychology has come so far to where it's like, hey, you don't have to keep talking about it. In fact, you might not even have to talk about it. Some things out there, you don't even talk about it. You just do with it in your head, and the person just walks you through it, and then it's gone. So
and I also love that there's this this awakening, I guess you could call it. There's just this opportunity in front of us that, you know, there's all these resources and all of these services that people are training and diving into because they are so effective and they are so beneficial. And we see people every single day that are struggling to overcome things or get through things, you know, in the most optimal way. And having someone that is willing to share about, you know, the rapid
transformational therapy.
Yes, RTT. She's told me this, RTT, and I stumble on words sometimes. So RTT, and saying, you know, there is a future out there for everyone, you know, and connecting to that person that's offering that service through RTT just solidifies that there's so many unknowns. And, you know, that was the purpose of this series, to share that and get it out there, and just confirm that, you know, people don't have to struggle so hard alone, you know. I personally believe that we're all meant to connect in some way. And I think that it's so important that if we have tools and resources, that we should share them, and that we should, you know, we should want to connect with people that can use them or that can offer them, you know. And I think that that's just the very epitome of this whole series. So thank you for sharing all of that great information. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
Oh gosh.
I know we kind of wrapped it all up very quickly, but
I think one thing that's I'm very much don't prepare. I just kind of come on these and just see what comes through. And so I will say that therapy definitely has a good time and place. If you're someone that needs that connection and needs that support to see that person every 2 weeks, it's amazing. If you're that person who, no, I don't have time for it, I don't want to do that, I want to get in and get out, there's so many different things out there. And so I think if I'm not your cup of tea, there's so many other modalities, there's so many other people out there. If you truly, it's almost like this is what I'm going to say. There's no excuse.
Mhm.
There's no excuse anymore. There's so many different healing modalities out there that it's like, I'm a big teacher on the drama triangle, the victim, the rescuer, and the persecutor. And there's no excuse to be a victim anymore, because there's so many different ways out there that you can get your power back. You can get your voice back. You can take control of your life. And so that's kind of my no BS coming through. It was just like, there's no excuses. So go and find, if you want to change your life, you can. There's so many people out there that can guide you. And if you follow your intuition, the right person's going to come at the right time.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you're just so clear about your message.
Yeah.
Right? The no BS part of that. It's not questioning whether the opportunity and the service and the modality that you're using it's not questioning it. You know that it works. You know that it is fulfilling and that it is very real. But also acknowledging that people will get there eventually. They'll figure out, they'll have to figure out for themselves, if things are just not working, maybe they're really struggling getting through all of these other services, other opportunities, and just getting to that's, stuck and just ready to take that next step and really heal and move through that. And so, yes. I keep going through my head. I'm like, she's real. She's
yes.
like, no BS.
No victims, no yes.
Yes, yes. And I have practiced a form of RTT. I think I shared this with you formerly. That is, it's very focused on diving in all the way and pulling out so much of the things that have been deeply rooted for a very long time. But mine also is a very lengthy process. So I was very surprised, and and it's not even surprise. It's more of like just awareness that there is this opportunity that's like, we're going to do this, get it done, pull it all out, overcome, in this one session. And I keep repeating that because it's like, even for me, I'm a life coach. I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. Yeah, I just love that. Okay, so is there a way that people can connect to you, or if they want to know more, they could reach out to you?
Yeah, so you can go to my website. It's nobstherapy.com. And that's probably the best way to get a hold of me, or you can email me at amy@nobstherapy.com. Yeah, just if this interests you at all, if you want to talk about what it looks like to work with me and if you're the right candidate, the one thing I will say is every single call, we have an hour call. It's free. It's a full hour if you need it. And I determine if I can write for you, if I'm the right fit. So it's never like, oh, you called me, we can do this. I make sure that the way I work and what I'm hearing from you is going to work for you. And if not, if I know another practitioner like Eden or someone, then I will say, you know what, I'm not the right fit, but you should go to her, or you should go to this person. So it's very much based on what I feel that you need. And it's never about me always working with you, about me listening to you and seeing what is the best for you.
Yeah. And that's important because, people have this expectation that kind of set for themselves that they are going to make this call and it's going to be an instant, almost like that instant gratification. Like I'm taking that next step. So this is the only way, but also discerning a good fit together, that good connection, because even as a life coach and someone that practices with a wide audience and clientele, I have to make that discernment between, am I the right person for this role? Because if I'm not, or if you're not, then it's not going to be as beneficial for either one of you. The services will not be as beneficial or as genuine, because at that, you're going to be giving your all, but it's not going to be making that connection. Someone can pay for a service all day long, but if it's not what they need, it's not going to be as beneficial for them, right? So I'm really glad that you mentioned that. And I think it's also important for people to recognize, this is not something that you're not stepping into your average retail store and picking up the shelf. Like, this is real. It touches the heart and then the mind, and spirituality in a way that isn't just your average service or modality. You've mentioned that multiple times, and the practice itself really lends itself to saying, when you're ready, to just move forward. So I think that is I think it applies generally to a lot of people, but specifically in this situation where, as you mentioned, you were a marriage and family therapist. And so you have that background, and then now having this modality to use, you have that credibility and you have that knowledge and that understanding that this works. So yeah. Well, I think that about wraps it up. Is there anything else that you would like to share?
No, I think that's all. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you. Yeah. And I really, I would love for our audience, if you have any questions, you're welcome to share them here, but definitely reach out to Amy if you have any questions about her practice and RTT. But also, I would love to know more about what the audience would like to hear going forward, any other opportunities for practitioners. My goal for this series is to connect with service providers and practitioners from all aspects of the segment, the balance wheel, every segment in the balance wheel, and really help you understand how you can live a more healthy, balanced life. So thank you all for watching this, and until next time, I'll see you later.